There is a question that every faithful linked to the SSPX is asking themselves at this moment. A question that the Catholic media have not answered clearly, that the Vatican has not wanted to formulate explicitly, and which, as we will see today, has a precise, documented answer in the canonical texts. The question is this: if on July 1st, 2026, the priestly fraternity of St. Pius X consecrates 4 bishops in ECON without a papal mandate, am I, a simple believer, excommunicated? By the end of this video, you'll have the right answer. Not an opinion, not a hope, not a fear. The answer that canon law gives. The answer that the Pontifical Commission for Legislative Texts already gave in 1996, and the answer that the precedent of 1988 confirms. Hold on tight, because what you're about to hear isn't what many have told you. Let's reconstruct the sequence. On May 13th, 2026, Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez, prefect of the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, issued an official statement. The SSPX's episcopal consecrations on July 1st will constitute a schismatic act subject to the penalty of excommunication. The news is being relaunched by all Catholic media as if it were a general condemnation. But Fernandez's statement, and the canon law it cites, is much more precise than it is presented. Canon 1382 of the Code of Canon Law of 1983 establishes only one thing. Whoever consecrates a bishop without a papal mandate and whoever is consecrated without a papal mandate both incur, by the very fact, latae sententiae excommunication, automatic, without trial, without notification. Period. The canon says nothing else. It doesn't mention the priests present. It doesn't mention the faithful on pilgrimage. It speaks of 2 categories: those who consecrate and those who are consecrated. For July 1st, 2026, in ECON, these 2 categories are precise. The consecrators, most likely the FSSPX bishops already in office, Fellay and de Galarreta, the same ones consecrated in 1988, excommunicated then and rehabilitated by Benedict XVI in 2009. The consecrated, the 4 announced priests: Father Pascal Schreiber of Switzerland, Father Michael Goldad of the United States, Father Michel Poinsinet de Sivry of France, and Father Marc Hanapier of France. They, yes, have certainly been excommunicated since July 1st. We need to understand what's happening here. What's happening to the 3,000 SSPX priests who don't participate directly in the consecrations? The Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, in its statement of May 13th, added an important clarification. For the priests and deacons of the fraternity, their ministerial activity within the schismatic movement constitutes a more than evident sign of formal adherence to the schism. If Rome formally declares the schism, FSSPX priests risk excommunication under Canon 1364, that of schism, not episcopal consecration. Victor Manuel Fernandez is the prefect of the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, the office that governs Catholic doctrine. He is the one who signs the magisterial declarations. He is the one who issues the condemnations. When he speaks of formal adherence for priests, he isn't making a prediction. He is describing the Vatican's official position. If Rome declares schism, the canonical path for SSPX priests is already written. So far, the facts. But there's a deeper question, the one you're really asking yourselves. What do I risk as a simple believer who goes to SSPX Mass on Sunday, or who will go to ECON on July 1st? The canonically documented answer is this: lay faithful do not incur automatic excommunication. The Pontifical Commission for Legislative Texts clarified as early as 1996, after the consecrations of 1988, that excommunication for schism does not automatically apply to those who frequent or participate in the rites of the FSSPX. Formal schism, that punished by Canon 1364 with excommunication, requires that the person freely and consciously embrace the essential core of the schism, that is, the denial of the Pope's authority manifested externally. Attending traditional Mass, even every Sunday, even at the SSPX, is not in itself this denial. Pillar Catholic, in its analysis of May 13, 2026, confirmed the same reading. For the lay faithful, there is a sufficient gray area. Excommunication can only be determined on a case-by-case basis, not automatically. The Vatican itself has said that formal membership is difficult to determine broadly for lay people who attend SSPX Masses, even frequently. I'll say something that very few have the courage to express. Going to EXCOMMUNICATED on July 1st and attending the consecrations is not automatically an act of formal schism for a lay faithful. There is no canon that punishes the faithful who attend an irregular episcopal consecration. Participating in the liturgy as a believer does not amount to a denial of the Pope's authority. The distinction is crucial, and canon law recognizes it. This doesn't mean the situation is free of spiritual or pastoral risks. It does mean that automatic excommunication, the one Fernandez's statement refers to, doesn't affect lay faithful simply for being present. Rome could issue a specific statement that would change this picture, but so far, it hasn't. The Vatican's silence on this particular point is no coincidence. Those who follow this channel may already be wondering, what happened in 1988? The answer is the clearest confirmation of what we've just said. John Paul II issued the decree of excommunication on July 1st, 1988, the very day of Lefebvre's consecrations at EXCOMMUNICATED. That excommunication affected Lefebvre and the 4 bishops he consecrated. Not a single priest of the SSPX was excommunicated, not a single believer. After that excommunication, the SSPX didn't disappear. It grew. From 200 priests in 1988 to over 700 today. The faithful didn't flee, they stayed. And Benedict XVI revoked the excommunications in 2009, admitting, in his letter to the bishops, that the punishment had solved nothing, and that a real crisis existed in the Church. The precedent speaks clearly. The excommunication of July 1st, 2026 will affect the bishops, not the faithful. There's one thing Fernandez's statement doesn't say, and the silence is significant. It doesn't say what happens to the lay faithful who go to EXCOMMUNICATED. It doesn't say what happens to the priests who celebrate Mass on August 1st after the declaration of schism was issued. It provides no pastoral guidance on what the faithful who gather in the SSPX chapel on the Sunday after July 1st should do. This silence is not forgetfulness, it is choice. Rome knows that a precise response would push the faithful toward the SSPX, not away from it. Remember the opening question? The answer is this: consecrating bishops and consecrated bishops, excommunicated certainly, automatically. SSPX priests, at risk if Rome formally declares the schism, according to the DDF's position. The lay faithful, you who go to Mass on Sunday, who are thinking of going to EXCOMMUNICATED, no, there is no automatic excommunication that applies to you. This does not resolve the deeper spiritual question, whether it is prudent, pastorally wise, and spiritually healthy to associate with a reality in tension with Rome. This is a question everyone must ask their confessor, their formed conscience, in the light of Catholic doctrine. But the legal question, am I excommunicated, has an answer, and that answer is no. The Church is experiencing one of its most serious crises. the faithful find themselves navigating canonical waters that no catechism manual has ever described. In these moments, history teaches us that fidelity to doctrine, prayer, and the sacraments is our compass, not the fear of legal consequences. And fear, at least that of automatic excommunication, has no canonical basis for the laity. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you.